How we doing? I wanted to come on briefly. I was thinking about doing this, and I got a Discord message from Thule asking me how things went. For those who were watching me, the other night I was streaming and I was drinking, of course. I was going to try to get a little bit of sleep, and at some point I stopped streaming, but I was still up. I had a few more beers, and I realized, man, if I try to go, I'd actually be worse off trying to sleep because if I lay down, I won't want to get up. So I had to force myself to stay up. And long story short, today I took an Uber, prepaid, not paid by me, over to this clinic. It's in a place called Staten Island. For those who don't know, I've explained this before. New York City is made up of 5 boroughs. Staten Island is one of them. So this isn't the tall buildings in Central Park. That is Manhattan. This is a different borough, but part of New York City, only about an hour. Traffic wasn't too bad. From here to there, an hour. This was one of those, in the elevator. So you can see New York City. This is the elevator. I don't care if you know this. This is on a place called Christopher Lane in Staten Island. And they paid for the Uber there and back. So it was all paid for. No skin off my back. And I was going for a pre-screening, which was $50. And if they accepted me, they would do a screening proper same day for $200. So I said, okay, what the hell? Nothing to lose. So I went today. I stayed up last night, didn't go to sleep because I was too drunk. I said, if I lay down, I won't want to get up. So I stayed up, and it didn't matter. Like I said, I didn't have to drive, didn't have to pay for any of this. And Uber picked me up at 8:30 a.m. sharp. Very, very punctual. Like, I don't know how it works. Like, if you ever try to use Uber as just a private citizen, it's a pain in the ass. You go on the app. This was very, professional. Like, I kept getting texts and pre-recorded calls. Hello, your Uber ride will be there in 20 minutes. And I get texted. So it was very, it was interesting how, I guess there must be some separate service like Uber Business, which is a higher tier than just peasant Uber taxi rides. But so the guy came, picked me up, Hispanic guy, nice, barely spoke English. And like I said, traffic actually wasn't too bad. 8:30 in the morning, maybe because it's summertime. Traffic wasn't too bad. And from the time we left my house to the time we got to the place, it's you can look on a map if you want. It's Staten Island. It's right off where State Highway 440 hits Interstate 278, right off there, Richmond Avenue. It just, there's a thing called Richmond Health. Staten Island is Richmond County. Each borough of New York City is a county in its own right. And so there are a bunch of Richmond Healths, but this was like one of their sub offices. And so I waited. So I went over for this pre-screening, and I wanted to talk about it because why not? And I actually recorded some videos. So what I'll probably do, like I said, this is from the elevator. I was trying to explain to someone, I forget who it was. I was trying to explain, New York City, 5 boroughs, 1 city. So this was not Manhattan with all the, tall buildings. This was another part of New York City called Staten Island. You can look it up. I don't care. But so I went over there. It was all paid for. And like I said, I didn't sleep. Like I said, it didn't matter because I didn't have to drive. But that was weird. Like for some reason, the computer lagged. All the windows closed. Am I back? Can you see me? All the windows closed. I guess sometimes that happens. If there's too much stuff running. So I apologize. But I wanted to tell you about my day here. All right, we are so bad. There it is. So I got to reopen up all my tabs. Yeah, everything just went like computer error. I'm like, what the? So I have to reopen everything. Okay, so yeah, like I said, I didn't sleep last night. I stayed up. I streamed. I was drinking. I was drunk. I stayed up that morning. My brother got up. He went off to work. like 6:30 in the morning. I'm still awake. And then, but no, the Uber was punctual. It only took about an hour to get there. No big deal. And I was, because I have to drive, I wouldn't want to risk getting pulled over and getting a drunk driving charge. Would not want to drive. I was that out of it, but I was awake enough, And what I brought with me, I took like one of those canvas grocery store bags, brought a notebook just in case, but didn't write anything down. And I brought a giant jug of iced tea. And you'll see when I do the video, I pulled the tea out, and there's one doctor guy, he's looking at it like, holy shit. Yeah, no, I'm glad I did, because, when I got to this building, first thing I said is I had to take a piss. So I found it was on the third floor. I got in the elevator, got up to the third floor, and I took a piss, and then I went and I checked in. I was sitting around, and of course, at some point when they finally called me in after much waiting, they wanted a urine sample, which is fine because I had plenty of tea. So I downed my tea, gunk, 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 and I was able to give them the urine sample they wanted so badly. And the nurse, actually, I don't know if she's a nurse or what she was. This one chick, I must say, she was, again, this channel is more about occupational hazards, occupational clicks than it is about women. But this girl was pretty as hell, very, very beautiful girl. I would guess late 20s, early 30s, probably about at least 10 years younger than me, like about 30 years old. Very pretty girl, skinny, but like pretty, and very polite. Probably because she's in a profession where you're going to deal with the mentally fucked up. But she took my weight, and I was much more heavy than I realized. I really do need to lose weight. I'm much heavier than I should be. And she took you'll learn my weight when I upload the video. And she took my height, and she told me I was 181 centimeters. And I said, what is that in normal? And I think it came out to about 5'9". So one of you starlings, what is 181 centimeters? I'm like, I didn't ask. I'm like, why is your scale in centimeters? But she goes, yeah, 181 centimeters. And I said, well, what is that? She's like, I got to do the math. She herself didn't know. And I think it comes out to about 5'9". So like I said, I don't lie about my height. I wish. I wish 280. Anyway, no, actually, no, it's no. I thought you said. I'm sorry. I thought you said 180. No, 280. I'm not that heavy. Fatter than I should be. I'm definitely over 200, but not quite 280. I'm not quite there. I thought you said 180. I was like, oh, I'd like to be 180. That would be pretty skinny. No, over 200, but not quite 280. You can see when I see the video. But someone can tell me what is 181 centimeters, because she herself didn't know. I'm like, why are you using a centimeter scale if you yourself don't fucking know? But she's a very pretty girl. And I only spoke to her briefly. It's a shame. But I basically talked to this dude. What would you like to know? I think the long story short, I was there for a couple hours. There's a lot of waiting. They gave me a prepaid card. So I think I have $50 for the pre-screening. I got $50 for the pre-screening, and I got a text saying it was on the card. It's great. I was hoping for $250 because I was told the pre-screening is $50, the screening proper, which would be done same day, is $200. So I was hoping to walk out of there $250. I only walked out with $50. What it boiled down to, I talked to this doctor guy. His name was Dr. Smith. Very simple name. Maybe it's not even his real name. This dude, Dr. Smith. He was a nice-ish guy, older than me. I'd guess him to be, I don't know, late 50s, early 60s, still good. It's something. And it was all paid for. And I have to pay for the Uber. So this dude, Dr. Smith, he was a nice-ish guy. And I didn't go into my whole life story, but I told him, he asked me, I said, I'm unemployed, live with my brother. I mentioned things about my parents. You can see it on the video. I mentioned, I don't have any friends really. I did tell him, I didn't give him my YouTube channel, but he said, what do you do to socialize? And I told him, I said, well, I got my brother, I got my shrink. And then I got, sometimes I'll go on the internet and stream on YouTube. And he goes, well, how often do you do that? And I said, well, it varies. Sometimes daily. Sometimes I'll go weeks without doing it. Depends whenever I feel like it. And he's like, oh, that's interesting. But he didn't ask for the channel. I don't think he knows who I am. But I said, I was telling him, I've had weird experiences, et cetera, et cetera. I told him I was diagnosed. I told him about the neuropsych, the psychiatrist, the psychologist. And the one interesting thing he said, he says, because I've said this to my shrink many, many times. He said to me, have you ever actually met these people in person like you're doing with me now? And I said, no, but it's funny you ask. I'd love that because I keep telling my shrink, you can get an impression of me. I tell this to you idiot starlings sometimes. You can get an impression of someone on the internet or over the phone, but there's something about seeing someone in person, face to face. And I keep begging my shrink, listen, we don't have to meet in person always, but maybe once in a blue moon, you might pick up on. And this dude at this place on Staten Island seemed to agree. He was like, he brought it up. He's like, you really should see someone in person at least once or twice. I mean, yeah, because there's something about seeing someone in the flesh. I think that's why I got so upset the other night, because it wasn't just an internet person who broke my heart. It was someone I met in the flesh. So meeting someone in the flesh is still different than talking to them on the phone, or, in the olden days, or now just, seeing them on the internet. I mean, this is better than anonymousness, but so I agreed. I said, yeah, I tell my shrink all the time, if you met me in person, the shrink might say, I've seen you online for like almost 200 sessions, but wow, just meeting you once, I got this whole different opinion of you. Yeah, because you never know what your opinion is going to be. You got to meet someone in 3D in the flesh. So 5'9" or 5'11". Wow, we're really just all over the board here. In fact, I wonder, some of these guys who think they're 6'2", maybe they're being measured in centimeters and someone's not doing the conversion correctly. Because I didn't say anything. I was half out of it drunk, but I remember thinking, why are you measuring me in centimeters? You yourself don't even know what it is. I asked her, what's 181? I don't know. I got to do the conversion here. I'm like, why are you measuring? It made no sense. I guess the scale was only in centimeters, or it was it was an older scale, easier to read the centimeters. I don't know. But I'm like, okay, so whatever 181 centimeters, she told me I was 181 centimeters, whatever the hell that is. I didn't take my sneakers off. So whatever 181 centimeters is, that's apparently what my current height is. I don't lie about my height. You can see it in the fucking video. I'm 181. Oh, so I'm 5'11", because she seemed to think it was 5'9", but who knows? All right, we'll figure it out. maybe I am taller than I think. All right, but anyway. Oh, 5.9 feet. So it's not 9 inches, it's 0.9 feet, whatever the fuck that means. All right, maybe I'm taller than I thought. Every time I go to these things, they tell me I'm 5'9", 5'9.25". I think she said 181, but listen, again, I'm going to repeat it. I've been saying this a lot lately. Don't take my word. I'll upload the video. I got to edit it together. There's several parts, like the Uber driver picked me up. Then I got there. There's several, me talking to the doctor, and then me talking to the chick, me getting weighed, then me talking to the doctor again, then me going home. I got to put the videos together, and then I'll upload it. I just didn't get around to it. They're on my phone. I was uploading them to my computer, and then I was talking to Thule on Discord. He was asking me. I said, listen, I'm gonna stream about it. So I called this Reflections on Trials. Yeah, basically, I think the takeaway, there are things I liked about this doctor. He was basically like, I think you're autistic. And I told him, I said, my neuropsych diagnosed me in person as autistic. My psychologist, Shrink, seems to think I can't be autistic because he still thinks of autism as like classic Rain Man autism. And this guy starts shaking his head and going, that's so pathetic. Autism is rolled together. He should know better. And then he asked me, he goes, is he a PhD? And I said, I honestly don't know. I don't know what I should ask him. Next time I see my shrink, is he a PhD or just a master's? Or I have no idea. But I said, my shrink is in his 70s. He's from a different generation. So all his life, autism meant classic autism. He didn't get with the times. And then this Dr. Smith guy in Staten Island says to me, why does he want to meet you at least once? And I said, because I think he's terrified. He's in his 70s. He's afraid he's going to drop dead. He'll get COVID and drop dead. And then this Dr. Smith kind of laughed and said, yeah, but I bet he has no problems going out to eat at a restaurant or going out to the grocery store. But oh, God forbid someone come to his office. And I agreed. I said, yes, that I respected because that's how my mind works. So I kudos to Dr. Smith from Richmond Health on Staten Island for understanding that, yeah, because I've been saying this for, a couple of years now. Dude, shrink. We don't have to meet in person all the time. Virtual is convenient, but can't we do it at least once? Once I can come and see you because you might get a different vibe of me if you see me in person. You might pick up on some subconscious mannerism that you're not aware of on screen. So I like the fact that this Dr. Smith guy in Staten Island for this drug trial thing seemed to, without me even prompting, reiterate what I had said before. So I like that. I agree. I've never been measured in centimeters before. I'm like, I should have asked. Normally I would, but I was so out of it. I was still drunk. I was sobering up. It's like, I should be in bed. I'm like, 181. Oh, what's that? I'm like, I should have said, if I'm more sober, I'd say, well, why are you measuring in centimeters? But who knows? Yeah, but what's funny? What's funny about that? Fine, maybe she Googled it. She got 5.9 and mistook it for 5'9". But here's what's odd about that, Cassandra. This is the only time in my life, to my knowledge, I've ever been measured in centimeters. Like you said, really weird. Everyone else is, in fact, some of these don't even have centimeters or that secondary. I've always been measured in feet and inches. I don't know why she was measuring in centimeters. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if this medical practice thinks it's progressive by going metric. I have no idea. I should have inquired more, but I was just too out of it. I was like, blah, blah, blah. And I was thinking, man, this chick's kind of cute. I was thinking, can I get a picture of her? I think I got her briefly on video. I would have loved to just take her picture, but that would have been too. See, I even know where the boundary is. I couldn't have said, can I take your picture? That would be too, But she was polite-ish, probably because she's used to dealing with retards because she's, working in this, but she was a pretty girl, very pretty girl. Like I said, not a kid. She was late 20s, early 30s, very pretty. And I only saw her briefly. And then I dealt with this Dr. Smith dude, But the long story short, the takeaway was, and yeah, because he said, listen, man, if you and I were to a grocery store together and you're going one way, I'm going the other, I might not notice, I might not think about it, but talking to you and you admit you have autism, and I don't think you're lying. I don't think you were misdiagnosed. I definitely see the autism. You tell me you have autism, I can definitely see it. I've been in this business long enough. I work with people who are autistic. Yeah, I don't doubt it. I don't think this is out of left field. I'm not going to tell you, no. If I walked by you on the street, I might not be paying enough attention. But yeah, looking at you here, yeah, he agreed. He said, yeah, I don't doubt your autistic nature. So that was nice. The validation was nice. But basically what he told me, and I told him, he's based-ish. And I told him, I said, listen, man, this is a depression study. And I said, I am depressed. The depression's real. I think, like I said, I'm a Spurg. And because I've been treated like shit these past few years, especially since my father's stroke, it really bugs me. It really weighs on me. I can't function. And he kept saying, well, I understand that, but, maybe you'd be better off for an anxiety test or an autism test. We don't have any right now, but you can always call us back. I think what he was trying to say to me was, this test is for normies with depression. We're looking for normies who have depression. A Spurg is a wild card, so whether you're depressed or not, we can't take chances on a Spurg. We need someone who's normal, who's gone depressed. We need someone who, yes, I was happily married, wife, kids, great life, and all of a sudden, oh, I feel terrible. They were looking for normie depressed. They don't want Spurg depressed. That's the takeaway. And I told the dude, I said, listen, I'm not fishing to be part of your damn survey. If you don't want to, take me on and pay me, that's fine. But don't dismiss the depression because, like chicken and the egg, I'm autistic. And after a lifetime being treated this way, it catches up. And he did say, yes, I agree. But, I don't think the study is right for you. I think what he was saying is we want normies with depression, not Spurgs. No, she'd probably be polite, but she'd laugh and say, oh, look at that. The nice little retard thinks he's a shot with me. Oh, that's cute. Yeah, no. Thanks, Julie. Pretty girl. Very pretty girl. Reminded me of some actress. I got to think who it was. Some actress. I think that chick. Remember that movie? Not the movie. The TV show, The OC. Not Occupational Click, Orange County. That one chick, I think she's actually British. She was in The OC. Kind of looked like her. Kind of. She's pretty. Very pretty, skinny. And I just like, hey, I'd like to have a girlfriend like that, but I'm a realist. So, but yeah. Well, what does that mean? What is chemical imbalance depression versus whatever type of depression you think I have? What are the differences? Like, what is chemical imbalance depression? What sort of depression do you think I have, or you think he thinks, Dr. Smith thinks I have? I think that's her. Yes. Hold on. Give me a minute. Misha Barton. There's also someone else. Hold on a minute. Here. I think it's this chick. Hold on. Misha Barton, but also someone else. Oh, here we go. There was a Canadian actress. I'll pull her up. Hold on. More like this. Hold on. Let me pull up a good picture. This Canadian actress in her younger days. I'll show you. Christ, it takes like 20 minutes to get a fucking thing open. My God. Maybe I'm a little tired. And when I came home, I was exhausted. I was going to cut the grass to finish the back. I fell asleep. I was like, There we go. Give me a sec. I'll bring her up. There's this Canadian actress of Bulgarian ancestry. Her name is Nina Dobrev. I had to look her up. Canadian, but of Bulgarian ancestry. I'm just going to pull up her picture. And here she is, this Canadian actress with some I don't know, aging Chad. That's very much this chick here. This actress is a lot what this girl looked like. I thought very pretty. I like same body, same similar face. I'm just thinking, wow, cute bitch. I was expecting, usually when you go into these like clerical places, you see a lot of fat, frumpy, ugly looking women. It's rare to see a girl that good looking working as a fucking assistant in one of these hellhole, medical places. It's rare to see a girl that pretty in a place like that. All the other women were what you expect. Old, frumpy, disgusting roasties. Nothing's going to make me turn my head. I'm like, wow, I'm seeing a head turner in a place where, you wouldn't expect to see one. So yes, this actress, Nina Dobrev, this chick on Staten Island at this Richmond Medical Center trial place looked a lot like her. And I remember thinking, much, it's like, what are you doing here? You're too pretty to be working in some fucking dump clinic like this. But yeah, very pretty girl. But she told me I was 181 centimeters. Yes, Nina Dobrev. It wasn't really Nina Dobrev. It was some chick who reminded me a lot like that. I remember thinking, way too pretty to be working in some fucking dumpy clinic with a bunch of retards. But hey. Right, Degrassi. Whatever it takes, I know I can make it through. I used to watch they play reruns on cable when I was in my 20s. If I give whatever it takes. Yes, she was on Degrassi. Yes. Pretty girl. And like this chick looked like her. And I'm like, way too pretty to be working in some fucking dump clinic. But okay. On Staten fucking Island of all places. But okay. So yes, pretty good. That was the highlight of my day. But I only interacted with her briefly. Okay. So we got that. All right. So now where was I? So yes. Hello again, JT. No, I don't understand what you're asking me here. You two are his mains. Someone clarify. JT, look, man, I'm talking about, we had a nice chat yesterday. It was a bit all over the place. You kind of disagreed, then you agreed, then you called me name. It was getting whatever. That was yesterday's theme. Today's theme, I'm talking about, I stayed up. Since last night when you last talked to me, I stayed up, still drinking, waited for this Uber. They hired a car. The Uber picked me up and took me to this clinic to do this trial. And then I came home and slept. That afternoon when I got home, I was like, I gotta go. So I've slept since, been drinking since. But yeah, so we're on to a new topic tonight. I don't know, No, I wouldn't say Cassandra and Thule are my only mains. Like I said, this is more of a coffee house. I don't have a huge following. No, they're not the only two. They're just the only two. Again, watch a few more episodes. Get into the season. Get a better feel. You watched you watched some of last night's episode. You just came on. We're only, not even half an hour into tonight's episode. Don't start I think it was my biggest criticism. You were too matter of fact. Like I said, I'm not the sort of person. You can call me an asshole. And some people, how dare you call me an asshole? Fuck you. They prove they're assholes. Me, you call me an asshole. It's okay. You might be right. Maybe I am. You might be wrong. You got to give it time. So keep paying attention, keep learning. You can ask questions when important, but I saw Thule and Cassandra last night. I'm seeing them tonight. So after like an hour and a half of dealing with OC, these are his two mains. I figured it out. No. Give it some time, man. Give it some time. And maybe I'll stream tomorrow and they'll be back. Maybe I'll stream tomorrow. They won't be back. Some other starlings will come in. Maybe I'll take like a fucking 3-week break. It all depends on how I feel. But I told this Dr. Smith dude, I said, listen, I told him, yeah, like I said to you last night, I said, you guys asked me, so I said, listen, I'm unemployed, I need to get a job. Don't have any friends, really. I said, socialization wise, I got my brother, my shrink, psychologist, and I got my YouTube channel. I didn't give him the channel, but I told him I stream sometimes. And he goes, well, how often do you do that? And I said, well, sometimes nightly. Sometimes I'll take a fucking 3 or 4 week break, depending on how I feel. And I do it just to be social mostly. He goes, oh, interesting. But he didn't, I didn't give him the channel. If he really wants to find me, good luck on him. Or if one of you assholes want to call him up, it's again, it would be, if you can do that. I already told you, he's on Staten Island. His name's Dr. Smith. Well, that's not very descriptive, but I don't even care. But it's like, and I don't think he himself cares. I was being honest. I said, yeah, I got my brother, my shrink, and occasionally my starlings. I didn't use that term. He was like, oh, interesting. But he basically rejected me because the impression I got, and I will upload these videos. Not that some of you will invest, some of you won't. If you don't want to invest the time, that's fine. But don't go ask me questions. If you can't be bothered investing the time, don't ask me stupid questions. But anyway, Cassandra, you were saying you think, yeah, it was a depression related medical study. You think, based on what I'm telling you here, that he's looking for what, chemical depression as opposed to what, lifetime circumstance depression? Because the takeaway I got, he was basically saying, yeah, I believe you're depressed and anxious, but that's because you're a Spurg. I'm looking for normies who became depressed, people with normal lives who basically shouldn't be depressed but are. It's almost like he was saying, you have approval to be depressed. Sucks to be you, but you have approval. We're looking for people who theoretically shouldn't be depressed but are. That's the takeaway I got. So what was you were saying, Cassandra, about... But yeah, I think the girl... Well, I can kind of see that Misha Barton from the OC, more like Nina Dobrev. She's very, very. I think Nina Dobrev is hot, especially when she was cute, pretty girl. I wouldn't complain if she were my chick. But yeah, this girl was much better looking than I expected. I'm talking about her. I only interacted with her for like 2 minutes. Yeah, this Dr. Smith dude. I answered some questions, then I went to another room, then I came back, answered some more questions, filled out a couple forms. That's nothing. When I first got there in the lobby, I had to fill out a bunch of fucking forms. You know how these, you've been to a doctor's office before. Same shit. I'd fill out this, fill out that. Also to fill out a W-2 or one of those tax documents, a W-4, because there's going to be money involved. But yeah, at the end of the day, this could have been a $50 pre-screening and a $200 screening. Same day, 2-in-1, 1-2 punch. But I was rejected, so I got the $50. And, maybe they'll call me back. Maybe they won't. The guy always said, here's my card. You can call us back in a few months. But I think it was I'm a Spurg, but I think it was a polite brush off. I don't think I'm what they're looking for. But, I'm glad I did it. But it's a shame. I would have loved to have participated in this trial. Maybe it would have cured my depression. Maybe not. Either way, I can gotten paid and gotten free rides. I don't have to worry about, I can be drunk enough to worry about driving. I would have gotten free. It wasn't too far from home. So it's a shame, and I told the guy, it's not really about even the money or the participation. Don't dismiss my depression, because I do feel depressed after, what's happened to me. And he basically said, I agree with that. I'm not saying you're not depressed. You're just not the impression I got, you can watch the video, was just that he was looking for like a depressed normie, Perhaps a failed normie who's depressed and unwanted could do it. Well, that's fine, but wait until the video. I'll upload the video when you can. If that's how you feel, you can comment that. If that's how you really feel, I won't get upset. That's a perfectly fair opinion. Once you've seen the video, don't start. I don't like people who presuppose. And I was talking to my brother about this. What I want to say real quick, and I'm still waiting for Cassandra's answer about about chemical imbalance. I was telling my brother, it's like you're a teenager. At least when I was a teenager, I thought, okay, things will get better when I get older. And when you're in your 20s and even in your 30s, you're still close enough to your teenage years to think that I've risen above that. But by the time you get to be in your 40s, and this might sound contradictory, but it's absolutely true for me anyway, you become mature enough to realize how immature you really are, how immature people really are. In other words, when you're in your 20s and even 30s, you can say, because you're still close to your teenage years, I'm above that now, a bunch of teenage shit. Then you get to be in your 40s and you realize one of the lessons of maturity, of actually becoming a middle-aged man, is realizing, I'm not really that mature to begin with, and none of us are. I think kids in their 20s and 30s even are still too young to understand that. You're still too close to your teenage years. The point in time will come when you realize, again, the irony, part of being mature is realizing how immature people really are. And that comes with time. And I understand when I was in my 20s, I would have thought the same thing. High school shit, because you're so close to your teenage years and you think you've risen above it. You think I'm an adult now. And the reality is, no, you get old enough and realize, I'm mature enough now to realize how immature people remain from cradle to grave. That's all I wanted to say. And that's something I think alleged psychologists in training could learn. But now this particular doctor, maybe he thought I was pathetic, but it doesn't matter. I don't care if he thought I was pathetic or not. I said, listen, because that's the whole point. Don't you understand, JT? For an alleged clinical psychologist, all the people coming to this trial are pathetic. I mean, so it makes no sense. What you're saying is true in a broad sense, but okay, he thought I was pathetic. I imagine everyone walking through his door is pathetic. That's the point. The point is, we want to pay you for a research trial, so if we need pathetic people to come to us. So everyone who comes in is pathetic. But then it's when he screens us pathetic folks. So what you're saying is true, but you're not. Maybe your intent is to punch down. I don't feel insulted. It's just contradictory. Yes, we're all pathetic. Anyone responding to, and there are other people there. You should see some of these people, in the fucking lobby. Everyone answering the ad is pathetic by definition. So you're just stating, So yes, I agree with you. I'm pathetic, as is everyone else. And the doctor, as a legitimate psychologist, is expecting to find pathetic people. So what are you trying to argue here? Right. And I know you're being half jokey, Thule, quoting Local H. And I forgot. I always call that song "Born to Be Down." Apparently, the name of the song is "Bound for the Floor." But I remember that from when I was like 14 years old. Great song. But no, you're right. It's like Thule. What JT is saying is accurate in a broad sense, but you're not hurting my feelings. You're right, JT. I'm pathetic, but everyone's pathetic. This is a roll call. We're calling out for pathetic people. So of course the doctor thinks we're all pathetic. That's the point of the fucking survey. But apparently I wasn't the type of pathetic he was looking for. Right. Let's say I'm a Spurg, but I grew up in a lovely home. My parents are great people. I have a great job, or I'm a trust fund billionaire, so I don't have to deal with the niggers and the fucking tall fags and all this other shit. You're right. I probably wouldn't be depressed the way I am, but I might still be depressed-ish because I'm a Spurg. So you're saying, because that's the vibe I got. He was looking for pathetic people, but normie pathetic, not Spurg pathetic. It does. And it's funny because earlier, like a few days back, I was thinking the word copacetic. I'm like, copacetic. And you just don't get it. You keep it copacetic and you learn to accept it. You're so pathetic and you just don't get it. You keep it copacetic and you learn to accept it. Love that song. It means, again, we were talking earlier about how you're a teenager, you're immature. In your 20s, you think you're above that. Even in your 30s, you think you're above that. Then you get to be in your 40s and you're mature enough to realize how immature you are. That juxtaposition. I'm mature enough to realize how immature I am, but how immature everybody is, including my fucking parents. I see how they behave and they're in their fucking 70s. I'm mature enough to see the immaturity of people. 20-somethings and 30-somethings don't get it. They think they're above their immature teenage years. They're not mature enough yet to realize how immature we kind of all are at our core. They're just too young. It's not your fault. It's the folly of youth. And you can learn something if you listen to the old timers. So should I have lied? Should I have not? Because he did ask me. I told him, I said, listen, I tried Prozac, I tried gabapentin, I tried Concerta or methylphenidate. I was given propranolol, but that's more propanolol, but that's more of a temporary, once in a blue moon. He took note of all that. I said those pills didn't really do much anything for me. I don't know if that applied to it. Like he thinks I have like a chemical tolerance. Like he thinks if all those drugs had no bearing on my feelings, maybe this drug won't either. That might have been part of it because he did ask me. I was honest. I said, yeah, my psychiatrist on the internet, they gave me propranolol, whatever it is, propanolol, Concerta, methylphenidate, gabapentin, and Prozac. And the guy was taking note, and he basically said, okay, I said, they didn't really do anything for me. I didn't feel much different. So that might have been part of it too. You might have thought, wow, if you're resistant to all those drugs, this might be a waste. It might be a bust. Like they might have been looking for people who've never been on anything. I don't know. I'm just speculating. All I can do is speculate. Oh, look at this. Cassandra is number 1. Amazingly, JT is number 2, and Thule, you're number 3. Christ. But yes, the highlight of my day wasn't the free ride or talking to some Dr. Smith. It was briefly getting measured and weighed by this chick who looked like that, Canadian actress. She was very pretty girl. I'm thinking that. I'm not delusional. I know she'll never be mine, but it's like, that's the kind of girl I wish I could have. God, she was great. She's very nice because she's used to, again, like JT was saying, without realizing it. He thinks he's punching down. He's only pointing out the truths that I admit to. Everyone who walks through those doors, by definition, is pathetic. Everyone who comes in for these trials is, by definition, a fuck up. Normal, happy people aren't going to sign up for a drug trial. So it's not just me. These people they're in the business of dealing with the fucked up, the pathetic, the losers, by definition. So say what you want about me, but you're only rearing a greater truth. Everyone, those people in the lobby, I'm looking at these retards. I'm like, oh my God. It's all this is, a bunch of retard, fuck up, pathetic losers. That's what this business is. Those are the people who answer these ads. They're not looking for the happy suburban, Chad or whatever, or Stacy. And it can be caused by chemical imbalance or a shitty life. Either or sometimes both. You could be born with those chemical fucked upness and have the ill fortune of being born into a fucked up home. So now it's double amplified. So it could be shitty life or chemicals or both together. You would have been depressed, but now you're super depressed because you got the chemical predisposition and you come from a fucked up environment. Yeah. But yes, that's what I was saying. The fact that those drugs really didn't do much anything. It might have been, well, if they didn't help, this new drug, yeah. Remember, it's all at the end of the day, it's about money. This isn't about your mental health. This is about, they're running this trial on behalf of some drug manufacturer, pharmaceutical. But something? It's funny. We criticize the USA and all, big pharma. And while it's true, if we didn't have this big pharma and these patents and shit, the rest of the world wouldn't have their knockoff drugs because that's all that happens. Why are drugs so cheap in Europe and Australia and even South America? Because they simply steal the patents and manufacture American drugs at a cheaper price because they don't have to, in America, drug companies have to respect each other's patents or they get sued. Other countries have the luxury of just stealing an American patent and making a knockoff. China does it. And the rest of the world benefits. But if we shut down big pharma, what would happen is this. We wouldn't have expensive drugs in America. We wouldn't have any. And the rest of the world wouldn't have any because the rest of the world simply just takes American drug patents and copies them and makes them cheap. So yes, if it wasn't for the profitable big pharma of the USA, the rest of the world wouldn't have their patent-breaking knockoffs. That's truth. Or both. You shouldn't even hit enter before. That should have been, should have been in all caps. Or both. But yes, I hear what you're saying, Cassandra. There was this black dude, older than me, and he said to me, he goes, "Hey, man." He goes, I think it was high. Because he told the receptionist, "I took some weed the other day." And I said to the dude, I said, "Hey, man, you live here in Staten Island?" He's like, "No, I live in Jersey." I said, "Oh, me too." I said, I was going to ask, is weed legal in the 5 boroughs? Because I don't know. New York City has its own crazy laws. And this guy was a retard. He's like, "I think it's legal everywhere in the USA." No, it varies state to state and even city to city. And he goes to me, "Hey, you got to tell him you want to order your breakfast." He goes, I have a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich. What you want, man?" And I said, "I'll have what he's having." And the guy was joking. But for a minute, I'm like, is this guy being serious? I think it was just kind of a reach. Again, everyone participating in these studies are pathetic by definition. Christ. But I'll upload the videos. The guy did ask me, this Dr. Smith, he said, "Can you send me your neuropsych's diagnosis, the report?" And I said, "Well, the first report's like 30 pages." He goes, "Oh, I know, believe me, I know they're long." I said, "Well, I got that, but I also got her to give me a truncated 2-page version with just the diagnoses to keep it simple." He said, "Well, send me them both." So I could, there's no rush. If they contact me again in a few months, they say, "Hey, we got this Spurg trial. We think you're perfect." Or this anxiety trial. "We think you're perfect. We want to pay you $800. I'll consider it. But I kind of feel like they were just, I got to go. Remember, I'm a Spurg. I got to go by experience more than, intuition, social intuition. I think they were basically giving me the brush off. Oh, and there might have been it might have been semi-true. Maybe there will be studies down the road. Possibly, it's not impossible. But I don't think the guy, he was trying to give me more of a, oh yeah, we'll have something for you down the road when there's probably nothing down the road. So I said, okay. So I'm not going to send him. He gave me his card. I'm not going to send Dr. Smith my email unless they want to get back in touch with me. I'm not going to bother. The interaction with the black dude, the old black guy who's out of his mind. I had some weed the other day. I think it's legal everywhere. Oh, hey, man, he was playing with me. You can order your breakfast, man. Hey, it wasn't just with me. He was joking in general. He goes, hey, he says to the secretary, I'd like a bacon, egg, and cheese. So I said, yeah, I'll have what he's having. And the woman kind of chuckled and goes, I'll make you guys some coffee if you want. I knew he was joking, but for a minute I'm like, huh? Because I'm thinking maybe this guy's been here. Maybe this dude's career is just doing trial after trial after trial because he was pathetic enough and fucked up enough that I wouldn't be surprised if he's been eligible for multiple trials. But yeah. Again, JT, lurk for a bit. Lurk, watch, learn. Then it's okay to ask questions, but you need to digest more. You're not digesting. Pike? Who's Pike? Who's Thule? You need to digest more, man. You don't have enough information either way. You need to, you don't have to digest everything. You don't have to get invested and watch everything, but you need to have a bit more of a background. To their credit, Cassandra and Thule and even Pike have more of a background because they're my consistent starlings. I welcome newbies, but digest. Watch a bit, learn a bit, disagree, agree, learn, and then you can say, hey, I'd like to call in. Because usually, I was thinking the other night, usually when people call in, these are people who've been watching me for a while. And I always ask, how'd you find me? And they'll say things like, oh, man, I remember you from Dumb Stream. You were in the chat room. Or I remember you from Todd, when you went on Todd's panel 2-3 years ago, whatever. I was surprised. Or, I stumbled across your videos and I've been watching for a while now. So in other words, I always ask people, how'd you find me? And it's usually Todd, Dumb, occasionally DBF, or I stumbled by accident. And they all say the same thing. I lurked for a while, I watched for a while, and now I feel comfortable enough coming on and sharing who I am. You did the opposite. Never heard of you before. Some rando named Totem sent me here. I said, okay, master. And now you're like the first person, I swear to God, you're the first person I've ever had who's begged me to come on, who didn't even know who I was. You're the first. So congratulations. You're the first, JT. Everyone else comes on after digesting me. I remember you from Todd. I saw you on Dumb or DBF. I came across your channel. I've been watching now. I got caught up in the videos. I've been watching. It took me a while. I didn't watch everything, but I was caught up. I saw this one video here and I wanted to watch some more. Most people who come on, in fact, everyone who's ever come on has already digested me, got to know who and what I am. You are the first person ever to insist upon coming on totally blind. So I guess for that, you deserve a gold star, but go back and digest. Okay. Yeah, the other starlings will tell you. It's usually, I'll say, how'd you find me? They'll tell me one of those, it's always a Todd Thundercock, Dumb, DBF, or I stumbled across you and I've been watching you for one of those four. They know me monkey branching from Todd, Dumb, maybe DBF, or they stumbled across me by accident and they watched for a while, they lurked for a while, they participated in chat for a while, and then they said, okay, I feel comfortable now. I'd like to come on and share myself and introduce myself. JT was the first who ever said, bring me on now, bring me on now, bring me on now. Okay. I have no idea who you are, but I have all these strong opinions, even though I know nothing. That was the first time I've ever encountered that. And the rest of the starlings can confirm you were an anomaly, but okay. I want to share you about the trial. I call this Reflections on Trials. I'm glad I went. I don't regret it. It is a shame. I would have participated. Every couple of weeks, they pay for my ride there and back, and they pay me like $100 a pop. At the end of the day, after 7 or 8 sessions, but it would come out. Pre-screening $50, screening $200. That screening is the big money. $200, $50 for the pre-screening. I got the $50. The rest would have been $100 a pop. So $250, $3, $4, $5, $6, $7. It was like $750, $850. It would have been 5 or 6 sessions. Then every couple of weeks with the next, was it 3-4 months? I would have done it, but oh well. You know what's funny? Even Cocaine Andy quasi lurked. He was so out of it. I don't think he would have paid it. Even if he'd been watching for years and years, I don't think he would have followed my story. He was that out of it. But he was a quasi lurker, quasi. Not as, diving off into the deep end, He was wading in the deep end. Instead of wading in the shallows, Cocaine Andy waded in the deep end. JT, boom, just dove right in. Yeah. Who the fuck knows? Please don't ask. Hey, he'll probably show up. If not tonight, some other stream. You'll get your wish. Be careful what you ask for, Thule. Be careful what you ask for. That's remember. I wasn't trying to simp for Cass, but he was getting nasty. It was one of those. Like I was telling JT the other night. It's not just Dev Pike. What I remember, I'm not going to go back and find the stream. There was one stream I had like 3 or 4 people on. Cocaine, Denmark Andy, cocaine guy, was among them. And like I said, I couldn't give him 24/7 attention. I was giving attention to all the different participants. And he kept saying nasty things to the girls, like really like, it's one thing to say you're a bitch. He was getting like lewd and crude, and I said enough. So I didn't ban him, but I timed him out for like an hour. And by the time, I ended the stream before, I remember he was getting right in the chat, because when I would talk to him, then I go to talk to someone else. He'd want my attention. And then I said, hey, Denmark Andy, cocaine guy, give me a minute. I got to talk to, whoever. And then he'd start getting, he was another one. There are some people who come on and they demand 100% attention, even when I got other people here, which is why I got in the habit of cutting people off, because we've had problems with some folks who don't understand. And I'm a Spurg telling you this, reciprocity, you see me, I'm OC. I'm talking to you, but I've also got this guy and this chick here. We're going to take turns. And most people are pretty good about it, but Cocaine Andy, Denmark Andy was definitely one of the prime offenders. And then he started getting nasty in chat. I said, enough of this asshole. Hey, it's not right. Wasn't he getting nasty with you or Tara? He was saying like all kinds of perverse shit. I'm like, enough, because he was bored. I wasn't giving him 24 attention. I gave him attention. Then I moved on to the next guy, and he was just like, saying nasty shit in the chat. I'm like, enough of this. This is getting silly. So I timed him out. So I kind of don't miss him. I wouldn't miss JT. Like I said, most of these internet randos mean nothing to me. A few who I've met in real life were a bit more special, but hey, I'm a Spurg. What do I know? Had to sneeze. Excuse me. No, I take turns. I cut you off a few times to say, hey, listen, you're not listening. Pay attention. But no, I take turns. And if not, just go away. Who cares? Oh, that's right. We had him and his Iranian roommate, and the Iranian roommate was like going on about giving us a sermon about Christ knows what. Yeah. Interesting. It was interesting. I like I said, I welcome new people, and I like talking to all types. I've had people say, "Why did you take on this Chad Preet with the jawline?" Or "Why did you take on?" Why take on Dev Pike? He's nasty. Or why take on Tara? She's just some Floyd looking for attention. But I welcome anyone. I welcome everyone. I'm glad I talked to Denmark Andy a few times, like 2 or 3 times. But okay. Been there, done that. I'm glad we shared that moment, but I've no like desperate urge to ever talk to Denmark Andy again. Yeah, but it was entertaining. Good as me Banks would say, it's good TV, good television. Well, again, I wanted to talk more about my trial and what happened today. I'd like to stay on topic. Now, you understand, it wasn't just a burger. Like I was telling my brother, if a coworker says, "Hey man, you hungry?" "Yeah, it's lunchtime. Let's go out for a burger." We eat a burger together. I don't think my coworker's my best friend. It's not about the burger. You don't even get it. And that's what I'm saying. Go back and watch some other shit or lurk a bit and digest. You don't have enough information to understand. Dude, it was just a burger. Did you read that on the fortune cookie? It was just a burger. Don't think he's your friend. It's like, it wasn't about the burger. It's what led up to the burger. The fact that I, a Spurg, would drive 3.5 hours to meet a dude, to have a burger with him in the first place is what it's really about. Because I wouldn't do that for just anybody. Do you understand? It wasn't the fucking burger, you fucking idiot. But you don't know enough. You haven't watched enough. You watched 10 minutes of the first episode. You decided the show's shit, and they're on their 7th season. You might be right. Maybe the show sucks. Maybe it's great. Whether you're right or wrong, you don't have enough information to make that statement. And I stand by it. Come back to me after you've caught up or watched more. In fact, I really shouldn't hear from you for another 2 months or so. I'll see you in September. See you when the summer move over. Have a good time, but remember, there is danger in the summer moon above. JT, will I see you in September or lose you to a summer love? Okay. Come back to me in a few minutes. Digest more, watch. You don't have to watch everything. Watch a little more, get a better idea, and then come back to me. And you can say, I watched some of your shit, and I think you suck. Here's why. And I'll say, you know what? Even though I disagree with you, I respect the fact you took the time. Or you might say, geez, I was wrong. I misunderstood. Oh, now I know who Thule is. I know who Dev Pike is now. You don't have enough information yet. I don't like people who are anyone, even if it wasn't me. If I was a Starling and you were saying this to someone else, I would say, I've never seen this JT guy before. He doesn't know our host well enough. He doesn't know him well enough to make these calls either way. You want to come around, that's cool. The host welcomes you, but get more information. I distrust anybody who makes snap judgments without information. Where were we? Hi, baby. It's Nostalgia Bash. All right, what are we talking? I fell behind. What were we talking about? The best part was what? When Denmark Andy did the line of cocaine, or what's the best part? Oh, yeah, me and Dumb. It wasn't about, like, what JT is saying. It's almost like JT is making assumptions about me. It's not like, he doesn't even know the full story. It's not like my coworker said, hey, man, want to go to lunch? Let's get a cheeseburger. He's my best friend now. It wasn't like that at all. It's almost like JT doesn't get it. He's projecting. That's what projection is. You don't know who and what I am. What you're assuming, when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. You know the old saying, when you assume, JT is too presumptuous. Yeah, you other Starlings know a little better. And JT can be critical, but he needs to know what it is he's criticizing. He doesn't know enough yet. That's JT's problem. He wasn't there. Go back and get acquainted. Exactly. And again, how JT doesn't know me. I wouldn't want Dumb to drive to see me. I wanted to see him. He was moving to Australia. I'm not going to repeat all this. I'll keep it very brief. He was moving to Australia. I wanted to see him in his native environment before he left. I didn't want him to see me in New Jersey. I didn't want to see him in Philadelphia or Washington, D.C. or New York City. I didn't want to meet him at a fucking steakhouse in Hagerstown. I didn't even want to see him in Australia. I wanted to see Dumb in his native environment. He'd been streaming for a couple years. I wanted to actually go in person and see his real environment. And you would know this. You would know this if you watched my shit, which you don't. And it's fine you don't watch my shit. But again, guaranteed he would have driven to see you. I'm going to punch down. You're not hurting my feelings. You're showing how ignorant you are. You don't know what the fuck's going on. And when I deal with people who are clueless and ignorant, it's like, well, shut your mouth. Either learn something, educate yourself, or shut the fuck up. That's how I look at you. Like, you don't get it. You're not hurting my feelings. You're showing me you're clueless. You really are clueless. And I'm not going to bring you up to speed on my life. If you're interested, watch my shit. If not, then go away. That's all I can tell you. I'm done talking to him. Good. Spend the month of August watching and digesting all my shit. I'll see you in September, late September. Take your time. Make sure you watch. Fine tooth comb. I'll see you in September or lose you, JT, to a summer love. Yeah, we talked about this. Yeah, but see, it's okay to ask questions, but you can't make inferences for everything. You know, if this were my first ever stream, fine, ask me questions. I've shared enough of myself that I should not have to repeat. If you're really interested like you claim you are, you don't have to ask me. You can go back and learn a lot. Then you can come back and say, okay, I've digested your shit. I've learned things I didn't know. I was asking you redundant questions, but now they've all been answered. And I've got some new questions and some new criticisms. I'd respect that. I watched your stuff. I got some new questions that you didn't talk about and new criticisms that I've come I've come up with these criticisms after watching your stuff. If you came to me after the fact with questions and criticisms, I would respect that. I am not so insecure that you can't question me. Bring it on. I'm just saying, before you ask me redundant questions and make absolutist statements, absolutist, matter-of-fact statements, would show you're obvious. And don't just take my word for it. The other historians will tell you, those who have been here, you're talking out of your ass, basically. Don't talk out of your ass. Go back, watch my shit, get back to me in like October 1st. How's that sound? Okay. No, Cassandra's a man. Again, go back and watch more. Now, see, I don't know if he's trolling or if he really is this obtuse. Like, Christ. Anyway, I need another beer. So you guys just sort of hang tight for... Okay, here we go. All right. By the way, JT, you really shouldn't ask such a personal question. You know, Cassandra's her coworkers, they know she's a woman. So if she tells you she's a woman, she might dox herself. Oh no, you really shouldn't ask such personal, intrusive questions. By the way, JT, it's been about 24 hours roughly. Did you go back and watch anything? Like I said, I'm not asking you to be invested in me. I'm saying if you want to ask me these stupid, redundant questions, don't bother. Go back. I leave all my shit up. Nothing's privated. Nothing's hidden. I put myself out there. I don't want to repeat myself for some asshole who wants to be presumptuous. So go back and watch my shit. Did you watch anything? Did you watch or at least listen to like maybe 10 minutes of my Shrink trilogy? No, you didn't, did you? No. But I don't respect people like that who, you watch 10 minutes of a show and either love it or hate it. Even if the show might end up sucking or might actually be pretty good, you can't make that judgment based on one episode or the first segment of one episode. I look down on people like that. All right, so where were we? I'm behind in chat. Okay. I don't know if I'm drunker. Not a lot of people here, but I'm falling behind. I'm like, okay, where was I? Yes, and that's what we came to last night. He contradicted himself numerous times, and then he kind of quasi-agreed with me. First, he was like, you want to spend the rest of your life feeling sorry for yourself? Then he did a 180 and said, well, man, you're socially retarded, so you're fucked. Okay, so I should spend the rest of my life getting me. It's like, but again, yes, I don't want I don't want to spoon feed anyone. It's the last time I can tell him, go back and watch my stuff or lurk. Stick around a while just lurking and get a better idea. Because I don't like, as a Spurg, I don't like having to spoon feed anybody. That's how it feels. You're right. It's like I spoon feed this retard. And again, he's one of Totem's. Like Totem was always, I always said Totem was like a broken clock, quasi troll. But every now and then he's got like him and Penny Pounder. Once in a blue moon, every now and then a broken clock is right twice a day. Every now and then Pounder or Totem have, I actually agree with them. Like 90% shit, 10% interesting. Why did Totem bring this retard here? Like it's like I'm that much of a lolcow to you. Instead of saying, look, you can come here, Totem, and troll me and do whatever. Why'd you bring this fucking idiot? Like, it's Christ. I think that's what Totem is. Totem sees me as a retard. He also sees JT as a retard, and he figured I'll send JT to OC, and we'll see how the two retards interact. Oh, Christ. So JT, don't let Totem play you. Don't be whipped. Don't be played like a fiddle. Come on. There are no simple questions to answer. First of all, I've actually repeated myself multiple times for you. And most of the questions you keep asking are questions you're proving my point. You don't know enough about what's going on here. And it's not hidden. You can go back and do your research. Cassandra, you're a woman? If that's a serious question, I'm getting sick of this. You would if you've been asked the same stupid fucking question 1,000 times by people who have the means. It's like saying, trying to think, like, you ask your parents, hey, Mom, what does this word mean? She tells you. Hey, and then you say, what about this word and this word and this word and this word? Whoa. Go read a dictionary. I don't mind answering a question or two. If you're gonna ask me, it's not that it's top secret. Go read the dictionary. Do some research for yourself. Come on. That's the whole purpose of school, education. Learn to educate yourself. LOL Yuko, long time no see. Here we go. I've got some starlings that come every stream. I've got some that come every other 2 or 3 streams. And then I got those who fly in once in a blue moon. It's been months. How are you? LOL Yuko is in his 20s. He's from Michigan. His parents are from England. See, we share. I didn't ask him his name or his address or his actual employer. We share basics to get a background idea. My brother even agreed with me. My brother's like, this guy JT doesn't seem to understand the culture here. He agreed with Cassandra. He's like, hey, this JT doesn't get the culture. Why is he here? Anyway, LOL Yuko, long time no see. I'm very insecure. I'm extremely self-important, and I'm highly inept. Yes, okay. Well, I'm a Spurg. I'm not socially. Of course, I'm socially inept. I actually agree with you. Every time you try to insult me, it's like you're just stating facts. I'm not so insulated. He said I was inept. I agree with you. I'm inept. Socially speaking, I'm inept. I've never denied that. Go back and do some homework. You're about to get timed out because I don't ban people. I'm about to time you out because really, this is almost like I can't tell if this is trolling or just retardation now. I really don't know, but it's like I hate repeating myself when I don't feel like it. I've answered all these questions 1,000 times before. Go look it up in the dictionary. Okay. Yep. Yuko, long time no see. And good point. I'd say, oh, where are you from, JT? Somewhere. What's your racial background? You're half white, half Hispanic. Your mom, dad. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, he wouldn't. So it's like, again, I don't know if this dude's trying to. I really can't because I'm like you said. I'm inept socially. Is this dude punching down? Is he trolling? Is he really this retarded? I'm mentally ill, and I'm a Spurg. I draw in again. Not everyone who's mentally ill is a Spurg. There's all types of mental illnesses. I'm mentally ill, and I draw in other mentally ill people. Story of my fucking life. What do you other starlings think? I don't know what to make of this dude, and I'm getting tired of talking to him. I came on to talk about my thing today. I'll upload the video, my trial. And I don't understand, I agree. Half of his insults, I actually agree with. You're not hurting my feelings. I agree. I'm inept. Fine. I'm a Spurg. Yeah, I agree with all that. The other half, you won't answer basic questions. I've answered these 1,000 times. It's Cassandra, are you a woman? Well, that's a very intrusive question. Christ. It's so far because I try to I still want to give people the benefit of the doubt. And I guess it's just, I tried that. I got my heart broken with numbnuts. From Zillinger, and now I'm getting this weirdo. Christ. Hello, LOL Yuko. Well, see, we don't know. I'd respect the guy if he said, I'm diagnosed with this, or I'm not diagnosed, but I suspect that. But you can't even get a straight answer out of him. So it's why you raise a good point. I'm not giving JT a pass because he was asked flat out. And he wouldn't tell us anything. So I don't care what he is or isn't. His behavior is disgusting. I'm sorry, I'm not following. I was in chat yesterday. Who's you? Me? Who are you talking to? Who's this you? Ambiguous pronoun, Cassandra. You who? We're referencing me directly, so he wasn't paying attention. Oh, IOC was referencing you, Cassandra, as a female, so JT wasn't paying attention. I think that's what you're trying to say. Okay. Yeah, that's another thing. It's not just that the questions bother me. The questions, I was saying this yesterday. You don't have to go back and watch my old streams. I've answered your question in this current stream 10 times. You're obviously not paying attention. There were a few times I would make a statement and then like his next sentence showed that he wasn't even listening, in one ear out the other. So it's like, even when I answer your questions directly, you're still not paying attention. Good call, Cassandra. He's about to get timed down. I'm getting tired of this. This is getting silly. Good. I'm glad no one likes me. And I'm going to give you the out that Dumb was too much of a pussy to ask for himself. And which you're too much of a pussy to ask for yourself. It's like these people don't want to be part of my lives, but instead of saying, I want to go away, bye. And some people have. Some Starlings don't come back, and that's fine. I got these people who still want my attention. They want to treat me like shit, but they, what is what I'm trying to say? Put them in timeout. Let's put them in timeout. Half-hour timeout. It's like you guys want my attention, then you get nasty with me. You wanted my attention. I'm here. You have nothing to. It's not even. I'm open to criticism, but you're not even listening. It's like that's what we talk about. Punch down. I am not so sensitive that I'll get upset over valid criticism. I might disagree with you. I might say, okay, OC, I think you're an asshole. Okay, I'm OC. I think you're wrong, but I'm willing to hear you out. I don't fly off the handle over name calling. I might disagree, but I don't fly off the handle. It's when we get repetition, question. You're not willing to work with me, but you want to punch down on me, call me an asshole, and not work with me. You don't want to be my buddy. Go bye-bye. Oh, Christ. No, it was Cassandra, in fairness, for a lit teacher, whatever you are, that was very poor grammar. A lot of ambiguity. In fact, if you're talking about two or more people of the same gender, you should avoid using he, she. You should specify he, who, or she, who. You shouldn't have used two he's when you didn't mention OC or JT. You didn't mention either of us by our proper, pronoun or proper names, but you used he twice. The first he was for me. The second he was for him, JT. That's what you call ambiguous pronoun. That was a very ambiguous two he's, and there were two different he's, and you didn't specify either he. That's called ambiguous pronoun. No, not at all, because you could have been talking to him. You could have been responding to him. Well, you, as in JT, the guy you're talking to in chat, no, that's incorrect. No, Cassandra, you're wrong on this one. Sometimes the educators need to be educated. Why can't I get rid of this retard? Oh, my God. Again, no one's banned. Just a half-hour timeout. So he's got, at least two alts, both called JT. What do you want? I don't want to talk to you anymore. You have nothing. You don't want it. You can criticize me, but you don't want to get to know me. Okay, then go away. All right. But getting back to my study, yeah, I think I was effectively dismissed because Dr. Smith felt you're a spurg. We want normies with depression, not spurgs, who might have extraneous reasons for their depression. Okay, wonderful. But what does he want? What do you guys think? He's just being a troll. He himself is a retard who wants to be drawn to me. I don't get it. I see, again, I'm a spurg who has no social comprehension skills. JT will say, you're socially retarded. Ha ha ha. I'll say, yeah, I agree with you. I'm not running away and hiding because I don't like what you said. I agree with you. You might be punching down, but you're right. I'm a social retard. So someone explain to me what this guy's deal is, because I'm just getting tired. It's like he's just going nowhere with him. He's upset because I kicked him off last night. I didn't do a full panel for him. It's his problem. Well, he doesn't seem to understand what enabling is. Agreeing with someone or disagreeing is not enabling. Enabling is something completely different. He just seems to think that anyone who doesn't agree with him and agrees with me and says, JT, you're wrong, OC's right, here's why. Anyone who disagrees with his worldview is enabling the guy he disagrees with. And I don't feel like dealing with this. Okay, you're absolutely right. So if you don't agree with me, go bye-bye. Okay, it's like you're right. Yeah, I don't want to get to me. I want you to agree with me. Everyone must agree. All must agree. Actually, it's funny. I think Cassandra and Thule would agree. There have been times we've had disagreements. We don't always see eye to eye. But just because someone agrees with me on something doesn't mean they agree with me on everything. It's like, why do I, the Spurg, have to explain these basics to some kid who still act? That's one thing I said. When you get more mature, you realize how immature people really are. These 20-somethings are too immature to realize that yet, and they're still very much. They think they're above their teenage years. I'm dealing with a fucking teenager. That's why even like Penny Pounder. I wonder, is he really what he claims? Are these like fucking like 13-year-olds? I have no idea. It's scary. This is true, Cassandra. Would you have sex with me? I don't actually want to have sex with you, but I'm asking, is it a no, you're totally disgusting, or maybe, or I mean, we just want an honest answer. I'm not getting on the first plane to Tucson either way, and I won't kick you out. The answer is no. I just want honesty. I was just thinking of that. So let's leave. Thule, great minds. So let's leave it alone, because we can't see eye to eye. There ain't no good guy. There ain't no bad guy. There's only you and me, and we just disagree. Ooh, I was just thinking of that. There ain't no good guy. There ain't no bad guy. There's only you and me, and we just disagree. But yeah, I'll definitely upload those videos in the next day or two. I saw my shrink last week, and I want to upload that video, but I'm going to see him again tomorrow. So I'm like, well, if better content comes from tomorrow, I'll upload. It's like, so yeah, I want to upload another shrink video because people keep asking for that, and I want to upload these Dr. Smith Staten Island Clinic failed trial video. Well, I've sung it before, and Thule wanted to hear it again. So don't re-add it. I'm allowed to sing a song more than once. You ever hear a hit song and you want to sing it multiple times? I'm allowed to re-sing. So I might have sung it once before, and Thule requested it now, and I agreed. It was a decent request, so I went with it. But Cassandra, you were saying something about chemical this or that. You're thinking, you agree or disagree? You're entitled to your opinion. You think the guy was looking for what I call normie depressive types, people who are depressed but are otherwise normal, or what you thought, what was it, the fact that I'm a Spurg? Was it the fact that I tried a bunch of meds that didn't work? What do you think turned off Dr. Smith to agreeing to take me on for this trial? What do you think it was? My Spurgness? The other meds I've taken, I'm still not quite clear. That's a serious question. Where do we? I got bogged down with that troll JT, and then I started singing. So where was I? Yeah, but how would he? Okay, but here's what I'm getting at. I call it normie depression versus a Spurg. How would he know either way if my depression is chemical? In other words, and you might say, well, that answers it. He can't be sure, so he rejected you. But just because I'm a Spurg, that doesn't mean I do or don't have chemical imbalance. How would he come to the conclusion, if what you're saying is true, if you're correct, if he's looking for chemical imbalance depression, how would he be able to rule me out? Like what was his litmus test for him to say, I don't think your depression is chemically imbalanced? Or like, how would he make that call? Because in theory, a Spurg could have chemical imbalance. Where did he make the call? If what you're saying is true, if this is accurate, where did he make the call that, you're depressed, but you're not chemically imbalanced? Where did that, what was that? I'm waiting for an answer from Cassandra. And again, hold on, I gotta sneeze again. You make me want to sneeze. Yes, I agree with you. You're not hurting my feelings. I agree, JT. I am pathetic. And like I said, if you've been paying attention, I'll I'll say it one more. My brother's up. Hey, I'll say it one more time. I am pathetic. You're right. But everyone enrolled in these trials is pathetic. Everyone who comes to these, all my starlings, including you, are pathetic. So we're all pathetic. You're not hurting my feelings. I agree with you. I'm pathetic, but we're all pathetic. So my patheticness isn't the reason he rejected me. Because if he was rejecting people for being pathetic, there'd be no trial in the first place. Idiot. And I've said this. Is why I'm not sure if you're trolling or you're retarded. Okay, what were you saying? I was waiting for what's her name, Cassandra, to answer. And you might want to argue that, oh well, someone's predisposed to depression, so therefore they're pathetic because of their predisposition. You're just pathetic in general. That doesn't really answer the question. I'm looking for, how do they? What is their? I don't feel like reading all that. They probably don't say. So they're looking for people who are depressed, but who, I think what you're saying, I'm going to paraphrase. You're saying you think they're looking for people who are depressed, but it shouldn't be obvious. Like on paper, it's one thing to say, I'm a Spurg. Well, that explains it. I grew up in a nut house. I was raped. I was chained up in a room and raped from the ages of 7 to 27. You're saying there's no obvious reason. They're looking for people who don't have an obvious reason for being depressed. I think that's what you're trying to say. Okay, then. There we go. What do you mean an okay way? What does that mean? Can you be more specific? What don't you like about the way I phrased it? I'm trying to put this into terms that are comprehensible, and you're kind of you're being a bit obtuse. How would you phrase it? Okay, medications can't just make you happy. They can fix. Yeah, but again, he wouldn't know just because I'm a Spurg. What if I do have a chemical imbalance? What if this new drug could, fix my imbalance? How would he know? He doesn't care. He's looking for people who they can't pin it on something else. Even if maybe I do have a chemical imbalance, because there are other reasons that might suggest otherwise, he doesn't want to chance it. I think that's what you're trying to say. Yeah, but again, I might have a chemical imbalance. He can't know either way. I think what you're saying is they're looking for people who can only be depressed due to a chemical imbalance. Some people may have an imbalance or not, but if they have other issues that might, rule out an imbalance. He's trying to weed out anybody other than those who couldn't be depressed unless it was a chemical imbalance. He's trying to say, if it could be something else, you're out. I only want people who seem like it's the chemical imbalance and nothing else. Everything, they should be happy, but they're not. There's no outside force. I think that's what you're trying to say. They're saying basically, you might have a chemical imbalance, but you might not. It could be something else. You're ruled out. So whether it is or isn't, you're ruled out. We're looking for people, we can only say 100% chemical imbalance. Well, the dude could have taken me on and just give me the placebo. I mean, right. If I think it meant to be if, right? If it could be something else, comma, you're ruled out. I think that's what you're saying. Okay. If you might have an imbalance, maybe, but it could also be this. We don't know either way because there's something else that might explain it, whether it's an imbalance or not. Maybe you do have a chemical imbalance, maybe not, but because there's something else going on, if it could be that, you're out. Okay. They want people who it couldn't be anything other than a chemical imbalance. Okay. Okay, cool. That makes more sense. I've never done this before. I've never, participated in some study. I forgot what the hell. Why not? But I like talking to the guy. I like talking to this doctor dude. He wasn't there to be my shrink, but it was. I liked because I said, listen, man, if you don't think I'm autistic, that's fine. Or he goes, no, I believe you. You seem like he was like, I've been doing this. This guy, like I said, I'll show you the video. This guy's got to be about 60-ish, late 50s, early 60s, and he's just like, yeah, I think you're autistic. I've worked with enough spurgs or special people to know that, yeah, I don't doubt it. There's nothing to make me say no, impossible, or maybe. No, I'm pretty sure. He seems sincere. I'm pretty sure. Again, I can't read people. I'm a spurg, but he seemed pretty sincere. He's like, yeah, I believe you. You're a spurg. And yes, in some aspects, it was a positive experience. All right, I'll think about it. I'm not gonna rush to do that. But yeah, maybe in the next few weeks or month or so, I'll see what happens. I kind of want them to reach out to me. It's not that I'm afraid or scared. I don't want to involve myself for a dead end. It's almost like, it's not that I'm worried, oh no, they have a copy of my Spurg report. It's more like, well, I don't want to make it easier for them. If they really want me to be part of this trial, if they got me on file somewhere, they can contact me and say, hey, we're interested, but can you please send us this shit? I kind of want them to come to me. Otherwise, why bother? And when I was leaving that day, the secretary did say, she's like, yeah, $50 for the pre-screening. You didn't pass, but we got a note here saying that you might be eligible for future studies. We'll keep you in our file. I said, okay, if that's true, fine. The best I can ask for, keep me in your prayers. No, that's not okay. Fine, Christ. Not just Dr. Smith himself, but fine. I'll reach out to him. Fine. Well, that's what I'm saying, in this modern day and age. That's what I'm getting at. I don't expect Dr. Smith himself or the secretary to reach out directly, human to human. I thought they'd put me in some database and I'd get one of those auto texts saying, hello, we're contacting you from the Staten Island clinic. Our records show you've been here before. We have a new trial. Our records say you might be a good candidate. That's what I meant. Would they enroll me in some kind of auto boom boom? Like, we don't need you for a pregnancy trial because obviously you can't get pregnant. We don't need you for a baldness hair drug trial because you got a full head of hair. But boom, our computer says, boom, you're a spurg or you're anxious. Boom, you might be good for this. I was hoping for some kind of automated, texting service thing. That's what I meant. Right, that's right. So let's see if they put me in their file like they claim they would. That's what I'm getting at. I don't want to chase them down. No, I don't expect the actual doctor or secretary to contact me directly, person to person. I just thought if they put me in the database, I'll get some auto-generated, bing, our computer says that you're a great candidate for this trial on autism. Okay. I think it would probably just sit there. It probably wouldn't even file it. It would just sit there, If that's what I'm saying, wait until they take interest in me, and then I know they want my information to put in their file. I can email it, and it just gets deleted. It's like. I disagree with that. I hear what you're saying, but I think they took my word for the fact that I'm a spurg. I don't think they'd like to have that paperwork, but I think they wouldn't hesitate in my file on the computer to check down autism. I do believe the guy believed me when I said I'm Spurg. He's like, yeah, I can see that. I don't think they would question my. I mean, yes, they would want further proof, but in the short run, I don't think they would question my Spurgdom. Fine, I'll just send it. Oh, I was actually talking to Seymour the other night on Discord. Hadn't spoken to him in a long, long time. It was good to talk to him again. I said, "Where you been, man?" I think from what it sounds like, he lurks, but he quasi lurks. He's like a quasi lurker. Like he's in and out. He's aware of some things. Like he was telling me his thoughts on the whole situation with my buddy down under. But then I said, "Oh, what'd you think of JT?" Who's JT? So he's quasi lurking. He's like in and out, like a one of these like silver cords in and out. But it was good to talk to Seymour again. Well, where's he been? I'd love to talk to him again sometime. Like I said, just like LOL Yuko, who disappeared on me. Seymour's like one of those every now and then starlings. I know he'll say, "I'm not a starling." It's not a pejorative, man. He's one of those. No. He's not at work right now. Spare me that. It's 12:30 in Arizona. He's not at work right now. In the 12:30 in the morning, he's not at work. I'm not saying come on. I'm just asking where's he been. I'm trying to be positive and say, hey, what's up with Seymour? Oh, I'm sorry. What I said 12? You're right. That's right. I'm sorry. Arizona always confuses me. I know it's 11:30 in California. I know it's 12:30 in New Mexico. Arizona is that state that doesn't do daylight savings. So depending on the time of the year, sometimes you're on New Mexico time, other times you're on California time. We're in daylight savings time. You're right. Right now, Arizona is on California time. So it's 11:30. My apologies, but in a few months, you'll be on New Mexico time. So you can't fully fault me. You know, New Mexico and California are straightforward. Arizona is one of those hermaphrodite states that doesn't observe daylight savings. So forgive me, but, at a different point in the year, I would have been right. You would have been 2 hours behind. You're 3 because right now you're on daylight savings California time, Pacific. Okay. Good. So it's not just me. Okay, cool. Oh, okay. Well, it was still good to talk to him and say hello. I still like Seymour. I think he's a good dude. Very nice guy. That's why I like it. You see, like I can talk to people. Come on and say stupid shit. Again, we were talking about maturity. Like you get older, you realize high school never ends. You got these guys, these jealous types, saying, "A girl said hello to you. That means she's in love with you." No, that's why women are turned off by you because you think any woman who says hi to you or breathes by you is your lover. That's how certain people think. And when they think that way, they assume all men must think that way. No, I ask you questions about having sex with me in jest. I don't actually want to get with you. I think you know that. And Seymour gets it. That's why I always like the dude. He's very secure in himself. I like the guy. I actually miss him. I wish like I told him, I said, look, I like your girlfriend, but I wish you'd come on more. And he gave me the same, well, I got to work bullshit. Like telling me he has a headache when I want to make love. Okay, yeah. But no, I like Seymour. Very secure, very down to earth. I like the dude. Absolutely. I miss him. When's he coming back on, man? Tell me, bitch. I want you guys. I understand he's busy, but like I said, I don't expect him all the time. Once in a blue moon, and it's been a while. Tell him, say, OC misses you. He'd like you to come on at some point when it's convenient. Tell him, seriously, say, OC misses you. I like talking to you too, Cass, but I talk to you all the time. I haven't seen Seymour, I haven't really gotten to, Okay, as long as you promise me, Cassandra, as long as you promise it will happen again at some point, I'm good. Because I thought my heart was getting broken again. I thought he was avoiding me. Because I do like the dude. He's very secure, down to earth, the kind of guy, No, I'm not going to rush out to have a cheeseburger with him. But it's like he's just a very the kind of guy I admire. And some of my friends were not friends. I did. Cass is short for Cassandra. Your proper name, as far as I'm concerned, is Cassandra, and Cass is your nickname. I don't want to hear about David Cassidy. Don't want to hear it. No, Cass is your nickname. We call you Cassandra. Why do I have to explain that? Running low on beer. Do I end this now or have one more beer? End now or one more? End now or one? You tell me. You tell me, Cass. No, I like calling you Cassandra. I think it's a prettier name. I'll call you Cass occasionally, but I will never call you Cassidy. I hate that name. David Cassidy. Hello, world, there's a song. I probably sung this before. Hello, world, there's a song that we're singing. Come on, get happy. A whole lot of loving is what we'll be bringing. We'll make you happy. We had a dream we'd go traveling together. We'd spread a little loving and we'll keep moving on. Something always happens whenever we're together. You get a happy feeling when we're singing a song. Traveling along, there's a song that we're singing. Come on, get happy. Yeah, no. I call you Cassandra because I think it's a prettier name. I'll call you Cass occasionally for short. I will never call you Cassidy. It's a disgusting name. Cassidy is disgusting. It's like a last name, David Cassidy. It's not a Cassandra's a much prettier name than Cassidy. I'm going to sing it again. You can still make me laugh, Julie. We had a dream we'd go traveling together. We'll spread a little loving and we'll keep moving on. Something always happens whenever we're together. We get a happy feeling when we're singing this song. Traveling along, there's a song that we're singing. Come on, get happy. Tuli, you're about to go the way of JT. I'm about to time you out. But then again, this is a dude who thinks AC/DC was much more progressive and inspirational than the Beatles. So this is a dude who, I can't fault you. When you encounter retards, I'm socially retarded, you're musically retarded. When I encounter someone who's musically retarded, I gotta say, oh, okay, yes, the Grateful Dead. You don't like the Grateful Dead? Yeah, they suck. Oh yeah, the AC/DC. Oh my God, they're light years ahead of the Beatles. They really reshape music. Yeah. Back in Black. Oh yeah, much better than fucking Sergeant Pepper. Okay, yeah, okay. So I'm dealing with a retard. Okay, so that's why I can't hate on you too much for your musical retardation. Okay, so we're winding down. I'm glad I got to come on and share, what happened at the trial. So no, I'm not going to go forward with this trial, but On a side note, I'll say I am not a deadhead. These people are deadheads. Jerry Garcia. It might be less nowadays, but the deadhead. I was never a deadhead, but I got to tell you, American Beauty is one hell of an album. One of my, I'm gonna make a list one day. One of my favorite albums of all time. I can't rank it, but Grateful Dead, American Beauty. I'm not a deadhead. I wouldn't want to listen to the greatest, the Grateful Dead's greatest hits. But I think as an album, as a collective piece, American Beauty is one hell of an album. God, it's a brilliant album. I've probably sung songs off of it before. American Beauty. I'm not a deadhead. I don't care about their other shit, but that album, American Beauty, really is an American Beauty. It's one of my favorite albums of all time. Grateful Dead, American Beauty. Love that shit. I actually don't know that song. Which album was that on? Like I said, I'm not a deadhead. I mean, there are a few songs that weren't on American Beauty that are okay, like, Driving That. I don't want to start singing, so I add a bunch of Dead to my list, but no, I think American Beauty is one hell of an album. It's a beautiful album. And Cassidy was not on that album. By the way, Cassidy, let me ask you, Cassidy, I called you Cassidy. Do you spell your name with a C or a K? Is it Cassidy with a C or Cassidy with a K? How do you spell it in real life? And like, is it like one of those things where Cassidy's with a C, but your nickname's with a K, or both are C, but online you're with a K? How do you know? Okay, so you spell your name Cassidy with a C. Do you spell your nickname with a C or a K in real life? Like if you're writing a note, hey Seymour, we need more milk and eggs. I'll see you when I get home. You'd sign it Cass with a C or with a K? I asked you a question. You're writing a love note or a grocery list. Okay, but then my question: why is your YouTube name Cass with a K as opposed to Cass with a C? That's what I'm trying to ask. Why did you decide to go with a Cass with a K? Because you're saying it's more of a derivative of Cassudi or Cassudi. Okay, so you're saying your shorthand Cass is actually, it's not for Cassidy. Indirectly, it's for Cassidy, but it's really for Cassud or Cassudi or whatever. Okay, well, to me, you are and will always be. I might call you Cass sometimes, but I can't. Cassidy. Ugh. Ugh. You're Cassandra. It's a much prettier name. You should be flattered. Cassandra. Cassandra. You're Cassandra with a K. All right, so we're winding down. Anything else we want to discuss? I went to my trial. What else? Well, you should be even more flattered that I've dubbed you a prettier name. I took like I didn't just call you like Jennifer or Sandra or like sorry or well that's a bad name, Jennifer or Michelle or something. I took your real name Cassidy, which is ugly as hell, and your nickname Cass, and I call you Cassandra. You should be flattered. And I'm running out of beer. Do I do one more or do I get off? I'm amazed how quickly it went down. In the summertime, it goes down so easily. Although it's kind of chilly tonight. I must admit, I'm fine now, but if I step outside, I want to put a flannel on. It's actually we got a bit of a cold front. It's supposed to get warm again, but yeah. Yeah, nor am I. I can't tell you anything about the song Cassidy, but I think American Beauty is a beautiful album. It really is an American Beauty. I love that album. Great album, start to finish. There might be one or two dud songs, but pretty much there's like 10 or 12 songs on that album. I love pretty much all of it. It's like, 85% genius. I love the Grateful Dead's album, American Beauty. Beautiful album. Well, there you have it. And what the hell? Well, even though I blocked Numbnuts, I'll put this out there. Whoever wants to come on, I'll put it on briefly because I might have one more beer. I really want to talk to people, but I'll put it out there. No pressure. If you want to come on, great. If not, it's okay. Anyone's welcome. I can always say I don't want to talk to you. I'll put that out there briefly. I'm probably going to get off soon. Like I said, I didn't expect this to be a long stream. I wanted to touch base about what happened. Like I streamed last night, didn't go to sleep, stayed up, was drunken out of it, but I had an Uber ride paid for, and I went to this trial thing, and I'll upload the video. And the best part was the cute chick who measured me and took my height and weight. And the doctor was a nice guy. It was, cathartic in some ways. You're right. Maybe he thinks, oh, he's pathetic. It doesn't matter. Everyone there is pathetic. It's just like you're a fucking retard doctor. You expect to see retards for whatever the reason for the retardation. So, but yeah, I think I agree with Cassandra. You're saying they want someone who it couldn't be anything else other than chemical. Even if I do have a chemical, then it might be the spergdom. You're saying they want people who it's chemical and nothing else. There's nothing else it could possibly be. Chemical only. Okay. That's why I stream. I learn things. I digest things. Thank you, Cassandra. One beer or end it. You tell me now. When this is done, I'll either end it or go. I'll do one more beer or I'll end it. You can call. If you say one more beer, I'll do it. If not, I'll just end it because I'm getting near the end. Well, what do you think that box would be? By the way, since you mentioned boxes, and it's just a box of rain or a ribbon for your hair. Such a long, long time to be gone and a short time to be there. And it's just a box of rain. I don't know who put it there. Believe it if you need it, or leave it if you dare. And it's just a box of rain, Cassandra, or a ribbon for your hair. Such a long, long time to be gone and a short time to be there. That was the opening track of American Beauty by Grateful Dead. Box of Rain. Beautiful song. Beautiful album. Yeah, I mean, no, I mentioned I have a drink sometimes. I actually lied about my alcoholism because he didn't see my diagnosis. I said, yeah, I'll have a beer every now and then, and I vape marijuana. I'm sorry. I said, I don't vape marijuana, Freudian slip. Because, yeah, I said I vape. And he asked me, marijuana? I told him, no, tobacco. You vape tobacco, and you have beer every now and then. Okay. No, I told him that. I don't think it was that. You might be, but I don't think it was alcohol or vaping. I don't think that's the reason. It was probably because I'm a spurg, and they're looking for, normies who are depressed. That's what my takeaway. And again, what do I know? I'm often wrong, as you people tell me. Such a long, long time to be gone and a short time to be there. And it's just a box of rain or a ribbon for your hair. Such a long, long time to be gone and a short time to be there. Beautiful song. The fact that they want people who are chemically imbalanced and nothing else possibly. That's what you mean by the chemical imbalance aspect. They want someone where they can say, this must be a chemical imbalance. There's nothing else that it could possibly be. So this person must be chemically imbalanced. These others might have chemical imbalances, but it might be something else. They want those who can't be anything other than chemical imbalance. Okay, cool. I'm gonna have another beer anyway. Do I end it, get the beer, or stay on? I'm not begging you to stay on. I'm just saying, like, I'm 50-50. I'm like, we're kind of winding down for real. I think I expressed what I wanted to express. I'll upload those videos at my leisure, and I can see my shrink tomorrow. Oh, God. Unless there's anything else anyone wants to talk about, anything else pressing, like Thule, if you're still around, you would ask me on Discord what happened. I think you'll see the video, but I think I explained the gist. Is there anything else you want? Any other questions? Anyone want to know about today's trial at the clinic? Anyone, or have we covered all bases? Yes, we're all winding down. That's not what I asked. I said, have I covered the bases of the premise of the stream was about today's drug trial. So did I cover all bases? Anything else you want to discuss or mention or touch upon? Let's cover the bases of today's my pre-screening that didn't turn into a screening for a drug trial for depression. Okay, so I covered. I just wanted to ask Thule if he's still around because he had asked me. I hope I answered his questions. Is there anything else Thule wanted to ask? I think I conveyed what needs to be conveyed. Well, I guess Thule went bye-bye. That's sad. Oh, well. Oh, well, if there's anything Thule wants to know, he can always ask me later or leave a comment or call me on Discord or ask next stream. I think because I'm trying to think, is there anything else that needs to be discussed? I think not much to tell. But yeah, basically I was rejected because he asked me all the drugs I've taken or tried in the past. He knows about my autism. And he thought about it for a while. He had me take an anxiety test. And he basically said, I don't think you're right for this trial. I assumed he wants normies with depression. Or like you said, normies who should be happy but are chemically imbalanced. That could be the only possible reason. Everything else in their life is perfect. Everything should be happy, but they're chemically imbalanced. Where I might be chemically imbalanced, but I'm also a Spurg, so that they can't rule out Spurgdom or whatever else. Pretty girl took my measurements. What else? They said they'd keep me in their thoughts and prayers, and they wanted me to email them PDFs of my diagnoses from the neuropsych, which I'm not opposed to doing, but I kind of want them to contact me, not personally, but their automated system saying, hey, you checked our boxes for the study. Are you interested? Yes or no? And then I'll go from there. But okay, so I think I covered all bases. If there's something else that comes up, or if I upload the videos and you have a question about something, feel free to ask. I think I've covered it all. So I think we'll say goodnight. We're winding down. Is that it? Anything else, Starlings? Time to say goodbye. Bye, 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 bye. That was my high school graduation. Like the chorus got up and they began singing that song. It was a relatively newish song. It was like some opera duet between one of those four tenors and some chick. And it was mostly in Italian, but there was one English lyric. Graduating. Time to say goodbye. Bye, 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 bye. Time to say goodbye. What do you think? What are you thanking me for, Dubs? You weren't even here. You just came on now. Were you lurking? If so, that's cool. If not, go back and watch. I was talking about this pre-screening drug trial thing I went to, and it was a bust, but hey. All right, so now, okay. But thank you for showing your face at the very end. I said there's some people who do that. They lurk, and then at the very end, when I say, okay, I'm getting off now, they pop on and say, oh, you're getting off now? I'm here. Hi. Time to say goodbye. Bye, 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 bye. I'll tell you what, the next time I stream, you can tell me your thoughts and opinions on everything from both streams. I'd love to hear it. If there's anything you want to say now, go ahead. But we can save it for next time because you're probably just in your lunch break or blah, blah, blah. We can save it for next time. I'd love to hear. Like I said, I'm a Spurg. I'm socially retarded. I love to ask you, Starlings, for your feedback. Maybe I agree. Maybe I disagree. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're wrong. But I love to hear outside opinions because, like I said, I can't read minds. And the few people who want to share their opinions have nothing constructive to add. You know what I mean? It's like, so I welcome everyone, but when I'm getting like stupid questions being asked 1,000 times, enough of this. So I respect your opinion, Dubs. So next time, Dubs, you can come on and tell me your thoughts and whatnot. Yes, Dubs. That's what I just said. We can save it for now. You're pissing me off. Now, do we need a timeout like this? Numbnuts? Do we need timeout time? Just got home. It is. Hey, what time is it? I have to look up. What's the time in Perth? Hold on. It's going on 3:00 in the afternoon. So it's 2:48 here, and it's 2:48 there. They're 12 hours ahead. So for them, it's also like in Jersey, it's 2:48, but it's in the morning. They're 2:48 in the afternoon. So they're like, exactly. Western Australia is exactly 12 hours ahead this time of year. Okay, so you're actually done pretty early. I thought you got up early, but you worked till like, I thought you worked till like 4 or 5 o'clock. You're out of work before 2:30 or what? What I'm saying is you don't have to repeat what I just said. If I say, okay, let's call it now, tell me next time. No, let's talk about it next time. Like that's what I just said, asshole. What's early? Tell me real quick. How early do you start? Okay, you're typing a lot but not responding. What time do you start in the morning? What time did you start this morning? You've typed a bunch of shit but haven't answered. At like 6. Okay, so like 6 in the morning. Okay, so was that so hard, Dubs? You start at like 6. Okay. After a bunch of responses, I'm not responding, and you respond by not answering. Okay, you start at like 6. Okay, that's cool. All right, awesome. Time to say goodbye. Bye, 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 bye. Occupational click out.